Alright, this is Larry again, back with you on the Romulan 1/350 scale Bird of Prey build. This is obviously not the 1/350 scale, but the Polar Light's 1/1000 scale. So I just kind of want to show you what I'm shooting for. I've got just about everything together. As far as putting it together, I'm going to pretty close to sealing things back up. So what I was going to show you was I bought some 5mm green LED flickering like I did for this little one here, and I was going to build, let me get a pointer, I was going to build some kind of a cage inside the nacelle, and I'll show you when I get to that. Just something that when the dome goes on and frosted, it kind of shows a shadow of something going on beside, behind it, rather than just a void. Obviously the plasma emitter. And I'm hooked up here. The other thing I liked about this kit, I put the photo etch on it, and the back end has got some detail, and these are the impulse engines, and then as well as the exhaust for the nacelle, again with a red flickering kind of thing going on. But the photo etch added some detail to the top of the hull, as well as some what do you want to call them, shuttle bay doors. I may just kind of scribe those into the big one. On the drawings that I showed in the first part, they show some landing legs, pads, whatever you want to call them. Again, it just gives the hull some detail rather than just being something plain. And you can argue the point, were they there, are they not. You're going to base the whole canon ship, I should say, the whole Romulan ship, based on one episode that you saw some really grainy photos of. So I think I'm going to add a little detail here. So like I said, I'll just circle in the landing pads into the bottom of the hull, just a quick photo etch, and then I'll do something in the back here to show the impulse engine here. And if you watch the episode Balance of Terror, if you listen to the dialogue from the Romulan commander, he talks about putting the old Centurion in the aft torpedo launch. So who's to argue you didn't have something there and you just didn't see it with the grainy prop that they had. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm going to shoot for, and we'll see how it comes out. Alright, I figured I owed you a do-over. Still kind of getting used to this whole video log thing, and number one, my bench is not that big to mount it on the tripod and back it up enough to get everything in frame here. So, alright, let me just go back over this is the Polar Lights 1/1000 Romulan kit. And when I was talking about it in the next clip, what I was talking about was the back here, and this is the impulse engine. And actually, I don't have the grills on this yet. I still got to put some grills over it, but there's grills that go over that, so it looks a lot better. And inside the nacelle, with the photo etch, you got the I don't know, it's like a grate. That's all I can tell you. It's just round grate that fits up in there. The effect, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but the effect is pretty slick. And I think that's what that clear piece that goes in the back of the nacelle for the 1/350 will emulate. So flipping it around and trying to get myself back up in here. But as you can see, if that's in focus, the nacelle has the cage in it, a mini cage. It just, I want to try to duplicate something like that, just to, like I said, give it throw a shadow inside the dome when it's done. So, you know. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. Like I said, this whole front piece on this 1/1000 scale is the Paragraphics photo etch, and then you know, same thing on the top here. But anyway, so all right, back at it. Thanks. All right, let me just show you what I got going on the engines, on the nacelles here. So I got a right and a left. I initially put just 2 center supports and found it wasn't enough, that it was still really pliable like this, as you can see. This is not like that. What I did was I added a back plate and I added a front plate, but I put it at the point that the bevel or chamfer, whatever you want to call it, starts. Because if you look at this, yeah, you got a little bit of a chamfer, but it's not the nice sharp chamfer that you see, I guess, on the episode. So my thought was, once I put the 2 halves together, I'm going to knock out the center part, and then I may use the that Evercoat and just fill in this ring here, so that when I go to sand it, get that sharp edge, if I go through the plastic, I'll have the you know, the backing of the Evercoat to take that up. Plus, you know, it'll give me a nice smooth, or I should say a nice flat surface to mount the dome on. So like I said, I have to take care of that. Same thing back here. When I knock this out, put my LED in, this should be a nice crisp angle right here that my rear cone fits on, not a rounded blunt, as you can see, a rounded blunt edge. So these are definitely, I got them marked right and left now. The instructions tell you you got 2 sets of mounting holes, and you know, for the life of me I was trying to figure out why they did it. But then after I started messing around with the wing, what I found was you either mount it here and you throw the nacelle backwards a little bit, or you mount it here and you throw it forward a little bit. So depending on the amount of room that you want in front of the wing, I guess, you know, the center line of the nacelle on the wing. So I chose to push it back just a little bit because, you know, in my eye and what I seen on the show, and then, you know, kind of looking at that little 1/1000 scale, it's back. So we'll go from there. But I got it cleaned up. I got it where it'll mate pretty well. It's pretty flush, and it's got the taper. So just for shits and giggles, this is 1.5 inches here, and this goes all the way down to 1 inch. So you've got your taper. It just kind of looks like a fat sausage. So that's both of them. This, I'll show you, lines up with the wing. Let me get the correct right wing, something like that. So what you're gonna have, I got my holes for my tubes that I'm gonna run the wires through lined up with the hole in the cell, so I can run my wiring down. So that's where I'm at with the nacelles. Like I said, they're about ready to close up. What I want to do is mount the LEDs. I got, like I said, 5mm green for the front, 5mm flickering red for the back. I looked at the amber. I didn't like the amber, so I'm going to go with the red. So hopefully on the next video, I should have them sealed, and at least maybe the first pass of you know, filler in it, just to start making it look like a nacelle. All right, so the next up on the docket here is my wings. What I done last time, I told you how I did it. I got my contour tool. Basically, I took my contour tool, put it against the wing, got my shape, cut out the spars. My dumbass did not take into account the thickness of the plastic. So when I cut the spars, it was a little too tall, so that when I put these two together, it really didn't mate up, which, you know, it's not a problem. I just had to sand it down and shape it, which, you know, took me, I don't know, half hour to do maybe both wings, kind of get it. I get it pretty good. So, and this is a lot stiffer than, you know, this. This is what it used to be, and when it's glued together, you don't have that. You don't even have, you get a little bit of soft spot, but that's about it in between the spars. I added, what the hell is that, 5/16? Yeah, I think it's 5/16 tubing. So I just ran the tubing up. My intent, or my thought process, was that I was going to run this into the hull. But the problem is the hull, it actually goes like this. This would go through the bottom part of the hull, so that's not going to work out. I am going to try to get away with the glue part, gluing it. I may wind up, like I said, put the screws in it, you know, as I mentioned in the first video. So we'll have to see. The instructions tell you to mount this piece, or no, my bad. This is the top of the wing. This is the bottom of the wing. The problem with their instructions, and I understand why they did it. What they should have done was put the mounting surface on the bottom part of the wing. But as you can see, there's no way in hell they would have vacuum formed it. They wouldn't have drawn it in. So what they did was they cut the bottom part of the wing off. Well, the problem is, you gotta do something like this, and this is what they want you to do. They want you to mount the top of the wing first, and then go back and put the bottom of the wing on. The problem with that thinking is this is the bottom part of the wing. The bottom part of the wing needs to be flush with the hull, and if you don't line up the top part of the wing, then the bottom part of the wing just does not line up. So I'm going to circumvent their instructions. I'll put the wing together, because I've already got my holes, my mounting holes through. Once I get it together, then I'm going to mount it to the body. What I did see with the body, and actually the whole wing configuration, because that's the way it'll sit, that doesn't sit very up. And if you look at this, much steeper of an angle. The drawing that I have shows a much steeper of an angle. So what I may do, actually what I'm going to try to do, is I may put a strip of styrene there and give it a tilt and see how that goes. Like I said, I got to play with it, but I got to get the wings together first before I can do it. But I don't like that angle. I don't know if you can see that. That angle is just not steep enough. It should be more somewhere up in this kind of a motion here. So, like I said, I'll have to play with it. This is pretty rigid. In fact, I gave it the ultimate stress test and knocked it off the bench, and it went to the floor, and it held up. So it is very, very, very rigid. As I was talking to you last time in the previous video about the glue, you know, I tried not to pull the glue, because if I do, then what it does is it actually melts the damn styrene. And as you can see, when I put these struts in here, it pulled up a little bit, and it put a little bit of a ripple in the plastic. It'll be sandable. May have to fill it just a little bit, but I'll do that. But other than that, I'm getting close. My next step is to drill the port holes and go from there. So that's kind of the game plan. Put the nacelles together. Well, I'll put the lights in the nacelles. Actually, back up here. Let's go all the way back. I'll light block this with some black, Then I'll assemble the nacelles, and then they'll sit aside. I'll do the wings. I'll assemble them, make sure they're all good, smooth this out, and then start playing with the angle. Like I said, this angle right now is way too shallow. Way too shallow. So, like I said, I'll bring that up. The other thing I was kind of working on while I was in between waiting for glue to dry, stuff like that, was working on the base. And you know, there's only a couple of pictures of the Romulan homeworld on the web. You know, just kind of screenshots, I guess, from Next Gen. So lots of green. This is just first pass. I'm going to do kind of like what I did with my Enterprise. The Enterprise was more of a blue planet kind of thing. This is more greenish. What I need to do is put some cloud wisps in there. You know, who would have thought that, you know, your watercolors you're doing in kindergarten would come into play, you know, 40 years later. So, anyway. So yeah, this is all watercolor, by the way. This is the acrylics, you know, water-based. So basically I just thinned them out, and it just went over and over and over and kind of layered it. So I mean, it came out, it looks somewhat decent. Like I said, I could put the clouds in here. We'll see how that comes out. And then once I'm done with that, then I'll shoot it with dull coat, and that'll be my base. That's just the Polar Lights extra base I had, the rod. And that's the other thing I got to do with the body. I just noticed that. So I got to put a rod, the receptor rod, whatever you want to call it. What I'll do is I'll just drill it out, go up about halfway, so that way the rod sticks in. And then that'll be my base, and it'll match the Enterprise setup. So other than that, that's about what I got going on. So hopefully, what was this, Tuesday? It's Tuesday. So by the end of the week, there should be some more progress. Actually moving along pretty good on this thing. It was faster than I thought I would be. You know, not too many problems. So there's a little bit of sanding, some patience. You know, things fit together. Just you got to think it out. That's the big thing, is try to remember what to do before you get there, so you're not backtracking. So, but anyway, so that's it for part 2. Hopefully, stay tuned. Thanks.